So in work organisations of the future, we might expect to see people that are highly connected across levels, that it's a networked form of organisation rather than hierarchical, and that people will organise about things that interest them and they care about. There's organisations such as very popular ones like Valve. Valve as a game developer has no hierarchy. People don't have job titles, they don't have job descriptions, they work where they can add value. Their kind of levels of remuneration, their contribution are collectively measured rather than by an individual manager. So we really start to see those sorts of examples. People talk about holacracy in places like Zappos and the idea of people having a range of responsibilities rather than formal jobs. And I think beyond that, there's some other really very interesting examples that are starting to develop. Even very traditional bureaucratic organisations, the degree of hierarchy is starting to erode, and we hear far more talk about networks in organisations than we do hierarchies. So there's a shift which is almost difficult to kind of challenge. It's gradually eroding and changing, and we can either resist it or we can embrace it, and I think our challenge is to embrace it. I don't think we should be afraid of the erosion of hierarchy, but I think lots of people are, particularly senior managers. Hierarchy is their source of power. So as soon as you start to erode hierarchy, you remove their levels of power. And that can be psychologically discomforting for a number of senior figures to imagine that they no longer have control, that their source of power, if they have one at all, is through enabling and creating conditions where people can self-organise rather than managing the process of organisation. So I think that managers of the future will have to be more facilitators than they are leaders. And it's something I refer to as active non-leadership. You have to deliberately step back from leading. Delegation is still an act of power, and I decide what I give to you. So I think it's even a question of stepping back from that and just creating conditions, creating the space where people can organise around things that matter to them. The process of stepping back as a leader, I think, requires us to create conditions through things like support. So give resource to individuals that want to organise. So I think part of the challenge for managers is to embrace the fact that people are committed to making a difference and how you help them to make a difference rather than how you control how they make a difference.